Right? Yeah, thank you for getting up so early. That was very kind of you. We're really happy that you could join us. We got a full house today. We're gonna talk about galleries in the metaverse. And I like it because I got to use my new word that I made up at another time, which is Metaversal, because I'm just a really big fan of Metaversal. So I'm just going to use that like 100 times today. So if you get sick of it, let me know.
Perfect.
But yeah, that's what we do here is we make shit up, and usually it works out. So I'll just quickly introduce people for those of you watching. Please like and share this out. If you're in the comments, that would be great. So, next to me, one of my favorite people in the world over there, Corey, who's my co-host. I'm his co-host. We do this together, and it's super fun. We got TC next to him. TC just opened up a portal in the Uplift world to be able to zoom and zip and zag all over the place, which is pretty cool. He's building a massive art gallery in Genesis to basically showcase projects, NFTs, with QR codes that take them right to the purchasing location. It's pretty sweet. Joe, down below, longtime artist, used to work independently on a comic strip that was in a newspaper. Ported that over to books. Got into crypto. It's almost become like a family business. He runs an art and amusement theme park now. That's based off of his project ArtVndngMchn, which supports varying artists in the crypto and NFT space over in NiftyBC, who, well, you probably know him, but he does a lot of crazy stuff with art, 3D animations. He's got probably the coolest garage workshop I've ever seen live on a stream. And he's the organizer. he's the organizer, no longer there, by the way, because he moved. But he's the organizer of WAX-A-POOLOZA, which was, an art gallery in a metaverse that we participated in. It was pretty cool. NFT Joe, who is an English teacher. NFT Joe, who is a big art connoisseur. He runs his own crypto podcast network. Cryptowriter podcast show. And you're doing some really interesting things with artists and monetization on the blockchain. A lot of what you're doing is actually bringing a lot of artists in. Jen Stelko with an L, and she.
I spelled your name wrong, Jen. Apparently.
Yeah. So I was like, I think it's Jen Stelko, but he wrote Jen Stecco, so I was like, maybe it's Jen Stecco, maybe it's somebody I don't know. Anyway, we'll fix it later. She's an artist working, in art and traditional media for quite some time, but you've recently moved into the crypto blockchain space, and you have a lot of connections with WOCA and some other, groups promoting art and doing your craft. And Martin from .gems, which is I guess it's a platform that delivers various kinds of art on the EOS blockchain primarily, but you guys are kind of branching out into some other kind of interesting things. There might be a couple other people joining us as well from various metaverses. But yeah, welcome. I don't know where we go from here. I just want to talk about the promise and the beauty of art and how it's going to transform the world in the metaverse, because I think there's some serious potential there. So yeah, have at it.
I'm set up to do some gratitudes right now, and then maybe as we're doing this, if all you guys want to private chat in StreamYard here. One gallery that you'd like us to go take a look at. I have the TP power right now, so we can just zoom all over and check shit out.
I would definitely like to check out TC's gallery, because we haven't done that yet on the show.
Right. All right. On that note, we might as well start with TC. What are you grateful for right now?
I'm grateful for being in this podcast with all you guys. I don't know how you want to word that.
Make it super simple. Jimmy D.
I'm grateful for Metaversal art.
Of course, you have to give me a new word. All right, Anthony Joe.
Grateful that it's 8:30 and not 4:30 a.m. Jen, I see you smiling, Jen. I can see your face. I can see you smiling.
4:30 for me. Woo. Just gonna take me a little while for my brain to catch up, guys. So.
I hear you. And BC.
I am grateful for Marion Berry Pie because I've never had a Marion Berry Pie until I moved up here to Rip City, and they're pretty damn good. So
How the hell do I spell that?
Marion, so Marion Berry Pie.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's really good. It's like a blackberry raspberry thing.
I see.
Thumbs up on it.
Awesome sauce. Sergio. Oh, sorry, Joe. I muted you. You had some air going on. Go ahead.
I'm grateful for my wife, Denise. Some of the best pasta tonight with garlic, olive oil, and Brussels sprouts. It was fantastic.
Oh,
I'm jealous.
Well, I'm grateful for my wife who made spaghetti.
So jealous.
When's the invite, Joe? Hey, man.
We're set up to host people here. I would love to have. Come on down to Riverside, California. We'll have a party.
I wish I was still in LA, man. I just moved up north, so I can't do it, but I will take a rain check for sure.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's awesome. Thanks, Joe. Jen, how about you? I'm going to mute you again. Yeah, just to unmute yourself whenever you want to say anything, Joe.
I'm grateful for the weather just starting to cool down a tiny bit. I live in the desert, and we're going from 50 degrees now to 40s, early 40s, maybe even lower.
That sounds like Celsius, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like Celsius.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get it?
man.
Can you put it into American terms?
Like 100 million down to like 95. It's more or less. I think that's.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for bending to my will.
No,
My American-centric viewpoint.
Anytime, right? There's nothing so ridiculous as the imperial system. Martin, go ahead.
Well, I'm grateful for dog salons. So yesterday I got my dog back from a salon and they got rid of all the dreads and stuff. I have not the time to do that at the moment. And he's happy, super cuddly now, which gives me a lot. So dog salons.
Cool beans. I'm grateful for all the freaking galleries. Like, seeing like instantaneous share for me on Twitter. Like seeing the shots that are coming out from all the galleries all the time. It's like
it blows me away.
One of my favorite things. I think maybe the only thing that even competes is like every 5 seconds, Kate's making a new freaking token out of one of her.
Yeah,
like,
isn't that nuts?
Yeah, DeFi is gonna get really, really mental, really, really soon.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So yeah, you guys carry on. I'm just gonna pick a place and run out. Oh, crypto voxels. Oh, that's cool. I thought we were doing this in the Uplift, but that's cool. We can do that too.
Yeah. So there's different people
100%.
from different metaverses all over the place, which is cool. And
oh yeah, no, I like it.
I guess, Marty and Jen are both over in the crypto voxel space. I don't know much about art galleries over there in particular. I mean, we're mostly here. Ours are a little bit different. So what are the things that you like about crypto voxels, guys?
Man, I love your shaders.
Jen, do you want to start?
Yeah. When we you failed to mention my organization when you introduced me, but I'm a co-founder of M.O.R.B.S Collective, and we're NFT art curators, but we're also got one foot very firmly planted in the traditional art world, and we onboard a lot of art galleries and established artists into NFTs. And our intention with our galleries is to kind of make them look true to life. So what I'm seeing now is like a lot of it's not a very true to life gallery. It's amazing because it's super interesting and stuff. This is looking a little bit more Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted by what I'm seeing on the screen. I'll show you if we can have a look at the gallery I'm talking about in a little while. So basically,
we definitely
on
will.
white walls, making the focus on the art. CryptoVox is a really good space because back in May when we launched our inaugural exhibition, it seemed to be the best option for making it look like the most like a traditional gallery. So we had a way of putting up plaques, with information about the artwork and the artist, and obviously then separate click-through buttons that take you to the physical piece of art for sale, also the NFT for sale. What we encountered was a lot of because a lot of our collectors are actually traditional art collectors that we're introducing to NFTs, and we found that they just really struggled to navigate around the gallery. Anyone under about the age of 15, no problem. They're just absolute digital natives who could wander around perfectly easily. But a lot of people. So we thought that we were going to base more collective really around our CryptoVoxels gallery, and it's turned into more of something that we can show NFT folk, and not really anybody else unless it's screenshots. But so now we're moving into, so we've still got our CryptoVoxels gallery. We've also got land in Decentraland and Somnium Space and Sandbox. We haven't really started playing with those so much yet. But Kunst Matrix, I know it's not really technically Metaverse, but that's just the most user-friendly option that we've found now, because it's very much like you just click and you end up in front of an artwork. It's good for, and it's also embedded into our website really nicely.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I think one of the advantages that like CryptoVoxels and has over Decentraland 2, maybe it has over what we do in the Uplift, is that it's just like you said, it's not that easy, but it's also not that difficult. People don't need to have an account; they can just click, they can go in there, they can look at it, right? So
that's it. You don't need to sign in. You don't need a MetaMask. We picked it because we thought it was the most accessible. But and I mean, once you've played around in there for 5 minutes, you can navigate very, very easily. But newbies that maybe aren't so digitally native were really just struggling. Couldn't get up the stairs, couldn't really do much, and we're giving up very, very quickly.
Is that like a common experience with everyone? Like, because I know when I first got in this space, I felt like I was 30 to 40 years older than I actually am. And all of a sudden, and my friend just got into NFTs. He's my best friend, just got into them this past week after a year of me talking about them. And he had the same experience with just figuring out how to open up MetaMask, and he didn't know what he was doing. Like, is this something that is common across everyone's experience, like with this stuff?
Yeah, for me especially. I mean, real world, art collectors of mine, trying to get them when I first got into this, and I was using, I think, Mintable at the time, and getting them to just set up a MetaMask, get the Ethereum somehow from their bank account into the MetaMask, and then go and purchase it, to then find out that the gas fee is 3 times what I was charging for the actual piece. So that was an interesting experience. It was more like all of a sudden I felt like, man, I'm trying to boiler room sale this guy into this art sale, and I'm like, no, it's just a gas fee. Don't worry about it. Everyone's doing it, That's
my art's going to be worth $1 million. You can't gripe about $60.
Come on, people sold for $69 million, man. $150 is nothing.
Well, shout out to Cryptowriter. They're coming out with their Finny Ethereum NFTs, I guess, in just a little under 40 hours now. But that's the thing. It's like I haven't used MetaMask in so long. I'm like, oh damn it! Now I gotta do a test phase. I gotta figure out what my password is, just to get a freaking ETH Finny, right? And it's like, I think we're gonna get to a point where we don't necessarily need to use certain wallets. I think the nice thing about Metaversal art galleries is that we can take a QR code, for example, and we can port over to where we can purchase these assets or where we can see these assets. But or even a website that like showcases where to buy them in the real world, right? But I think the problem is, like you said, getting people to like make that jump into the wallets and things like that.
So yeah, I mean, we in CryptoVoxels, for example, I haven't said my bit. While like CryptoVoxels, similar like Jen, we bought plots basically in Somnium Space, in Sandbox, and in CryptoVoxels back in 2020. But CryptoVoxels is really like the first place where we could have people enter, and you basically can embed a link in every image that you're having, and that can guide you directly to Wax or your Atomic Hub, any marketplace where you want to go. So for me, CryptoVox was really like the onboarding was easy, but also the interconnectivity. When we have an event going, which is another thing which I like about CryptoVox, is the events that are going on there are like every day there's somebody having an event, a party, or and it's very interconnected. You just take a screenshot. It's called a WAMP in CryptoVoxels, and then there's a Twitter bot just sending it to Twitter, showing like all the activity that's going on. They recently introduced also like spatial audio, so you just click in, open your mic, and you can talk to everybody that's in your proximity. So these kind of things, they just make it feel more like real life for me. And yeah, again, like the events, we're popping out like events now every Saturday as the after party for our weekly stream. And we invite people just to come over and chat. We stream this on Twitch, which is another nice thing. What we can do, like this event, for example, our stream, we could directly stream to CryptoVoxels and have people on CryptoVoxels talking about it, interacting with us. So that's for me, like the interactivity that's happening in CryptoVoxels is just like so advanced in order to other things. Somnium Space is nice because you can have like races with NFT cars there. And then like they're more advanced when it comes to that, but it's harder for the people that are onboarded. So yeah, a lot of things happening. I like what the community on CryptoVoxels is nicer because I met people from all the blockchains there. Like the first place where I like got a free airdrop was an advanced calendar from Mintable. Actually, the people from Near Protocol, they had like a Mintable advanced calendar there, and everybody came just there and could, like, just with a Google form, you drop your name, your address, and you're good. Anyway, I talked a lot. Sorry.
I just want to touch on that as well. I think it's CryptoVoxels, what they do that's really cool is constantly improve. Even between now and March, they've made like I didn't actually know that you could connect in with your audio. That's really cool. But yeah, they introduced like a drag and drop feature into Building recently, which was a game changer. And they're actually, the team there are really good at listening to what people need, and they improve just really, really quickly. They're always trying to think of ways.
So do you guys find with your galleries over there that you get a lot of like walk-ins? I'm not sure if that's the right term, but like people are just hanging out in the metaverse and they're like, they find you. How do they find you? Or is it like pulling people that are already following you like outside of the metaverse in there for that experience? Or maybe it's a bit of both, I don't know.
I think almost every time I've gone into our main gallery, I've seen somebody walking around. We're right in the heart of Origin City, which is where kitties are and punks are, and it's really like, I guess, the center. Yeah. Although it doesn't, it's just you can teleport anywhere you want really quickly, so it's not like it's a long walk from anywhere. But
well, it's the most developed area, I would say. Therefore, like you have a lot of foot traffic. Whereas like islands like Berlin or Asia Island, they are still like in the moment of building. That's where our places are. But another thing we talked about, like the gas fees. I think Metaverse is also the first place where they're trying to abstract them away and going to second layer. So wearables or things like this on Somnium and on CryptoVoxels, they're already running on a second layer like Polygon. So you could do the same thing with MetaMask. You just switch into like Polygon and then you mint your variable or whatever it is. So these things are happening. And with the recent integration from EOS into MetaMask, that would be also possible. Wax is building bridges. So I really think like the Metaverse is the first reason for developers to create bridges between blockchains. So like representative from all the ecosystems can actually like meet and show what they're working on. Because like there's always a trade-off between every blockchain. You can do something nice there, something nice there. And like we all come from the same idea, I would say.
Well, and I think with metaverses too, right? There's always going to be different metaverses that are able to focus on different things. I guess Ollie missed the stream, but maybe she'll show up later. But she's a spokesperson for Somnium, and what she's doing is more music based than art based. Although she is an artist, but what she's doing in the blockchain is amazing. If you're not following Ollie on Twitter, go do it. She's got videos of herself wearing VR glasses. Playing in real life with her avatar playing like in the metaverse behind her. Like she's doing actual live shows and some really cool stuff in that aspect, right? But yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like, yeah, I mean, so like Nifty, you're on a kind of a completely different, framework for what you're doing with Wax-A-POOLOZA. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's interesting as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to share my screen. I don't know if Corey can bring it up, but anyway.
Yep.
There we are. Oh my God, there we are.
That's cool.
Right there. So that's part of the reason why I like the platform that I'm using. I built this on Hubs Mozilla's base, and now I've kind of run it into my own servers. One of the main reasons is so I can stream video directly into it. All of the pictures are easy to kind of get up and running, and everything's clickable, so I can just go right basically to person's collection, buy their collection, fall down the rabbit hole kind of thing. I really liked it more than anything because I'm a 3D designer, and anything I can make in Blender I can turn into a space. So we can go flying around our floating islands. These islands are actually becoming different islands for different brands on the Wax chain. This is my project M.O.R.B.S. Again, you can click any of these, go to the project. Over on the other side is Marcus. Marcus does some really cool stuff, and he has his own island. And we're going to be having Blockchain Blunts is going to have an island. TC is going to have an island, which I've already talked to him about. And we're going to get him in here building too. And I wanted to connect this somehow to my Uplift plots. Like now that you guys got portals and you got links now in Uplift, I want to be able to like QR code back and forth. I wish there was a way I could somehow QR code from here into Uplift, but I'm not sure if that is possible. So, but anyway, this is one of the spaces. I have some other, as you can see, let me see if I can get this one going up as well. There's the page. There's different galleries. So Wax-A-POOLOZA basically has 4 different parts. Everything's a room, and this is for another collection that I did on BitCloud, I think. But basically, you can build galleries really easily, get something up and running that looks pretty cool, and I just liked it, And when we did Wax-A-POOLOZA, it was just nice because you could take selfies in here. You can do a lot of things that you could do in alt space. That's where I kind of got the original idea, and what I was trying to do is trying to make a place that was a gallery that people, especially on the Wax chain, there's not that much stuff that is available. I wanted to make it a community-based thing where people can walk around, they can check out the art in a different way, and be able to buy it right there if they wanted to. So that's the basis of it.
What I like about it the most actually is just the fact that like these GIFs are running in the background constantly. It looks really cool. Like
Yeah.
So you're in that world. It's kind of, so help us understand, because you're in that world, it's a little bit empty. There doesn't seem to be other people around you. Now, if you go far enough, are you going to find somebody that you don't know?
Not at the moment. During the event, it was pretty packed. We get up at like about 20 people, 30 people in there with it still running pretty smooth, and they kind of were trickling in and out. When there's not an event, it's open 24/7, so it's just kind of a gallery that exists. I haven't been, due to the move up to the Northwest, I haven't been overly promoting it, but I actually will be because we have a Wax-A-Ween event coming here in Halloween. So Halloween there'll be basically a trick-or-treat area. There's going to be a shining maze, the whole thing.
So this is more like, it's more like, so when you say that like you built it off of this other software, like are there other galleries or other people using this that are not connected to what you're doing, or is there a connection between those?
You can make connections to them, so you can connect all of these to portal out to each other because you can put links to other pages, other websites, other rooms. You can basically create an endless amount of rooms and connect them all pretty easily. This actually was built for education. It wasn't actually built for art galleries and that kind of stuff. This was actually something to do meetings in a VR space. And a lot of college classes were starting to use it. I had found out about it through a company that actually used it as a meeting tool, so that you kind of can do interactive stuff, because everybody that's in this universe can also bring up a video. They can bring up a video presentation. They can do the whole different thing. And it's super easy because it works on a desktop, a mobile phone, or a VR headset. So you don't need to have a VR headset to actually use it.
As the teacher in the room, I can tell you with full confidence that not a single student has ever used this for a learning purpose ever. So like everything in education, it is a lot of hope and promise,
Right.
and then a lot of nothing.
Right.
What I liked about it is really the aspect that you can import easily 3D objects. I was there shortly before you came, before wax-a-POOLOZA started, because I was trying to bid a ticket to get a booth.
Sure.
So I just drag and dropped like any kind of weird things in there. So I can, even though I'm just a visitor, I can start like doing some weird ass graffiti on the walls or something. So that interactive aspect, I like. We had a baby dinosaur like hiding somewhere that we imported from it was just a GLB file that I just dragged and dropped into it. So it's really, that's what I liked about the whole Mozilla Hub. Actually, this was also used for German VR Germany meetup. So it's quite used a lot. It's just the only aspect that I'm missing there is like that it's not decentralized, so there's not that much entrepreneurial spirit. Like I see in like when you own a parcel and nobody can take it away from you, you're kind of like building a business on it. At least you're trying, because nobody can take it away from you.
Well, now, on that though, at the same time, these rooms are in existence forever, and when you have your own server, we actually do sell those plots. So there's plots in here that are in the other room that are booths. Those people bought those. Those are there for every event that we're going to throw. So there's no reason you can't use this for those reasons. And that's why I liked it as well, is that it created a different way to do this. And it doesn't have to be blockchain central necessarily. It's kind of open to anything. It could be agnostic to any blockchain. And so as this builds, I'm going to start to do that where, I might have a Solana room that's just only using Solana, using a Phantom wallet. Then I do another one that's just, ETH-based using MetaMask wallets, and using basically those artists. Because I think that's, in the long run, to me, it's the bridge. That's where I think all this is going. I think that ETH is only going to have these gas fees for probably like another year or two before ETH2 hits in, and then everything's going to go down lower. The bridges will be built by that point, so things will be easier to transfer between blockchains. And when that happens, I think that all of this kind of segregated parts of NFTs, I think is going to stop. That's just my opinion, but I mean, that's just where I think things are going.
Fingers crossed. I like that.
Let's hope.
So I think you bring up an interesting point, right? Like some of these art galleries or gallery spaces or metaverse spaces, they're running solely on Ethereum now, right? Like the nice thing about this, I think, is that, or the nice thing about, the Uplift as well is, we can plug in, I guess you can do it with some of these other like spaces as well. But yeah, it just seems that right now for me, like Cryptovoxels and what's the other one? Decentraland seem to be ETH heavy. So I don't know if it really matters, to be honest, because I'm sure you can put a QR code that goes anywhere from any space. But yeah, I'm not really that familiar. Like it's not costing users any money to go in and interact, I don't believe. It's just costing a lot for people. Like not everything is on the blockchain, I guess, in a sense, right? Like with our metaverse as well, it's not either. But I don't know how that's going to impact, like in terms of sales and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to ask, Jen or Joe or Martin. I guess mostly you three are doing like actual art sales with your plots. Do you have collections on multiple blockchains, or are they mostly based on Ethereum? Like I know some people. We were talking to Ordona's the other day, and he's got a collection on Wax. He's also got a collection on Solano. He's putting different collections from different people, from the same people or from different people across various blockchains. Is that something that you guys are supporting in your Metaversal plots as well?
So for ArtVndngMchn, so far I started on Counterparty, so I have a lot of different NFTs. But right now I'm just doing Wax, and part of it is the current limitation of having to use the Upliftium service to do that, and then collect enough Upliftium to then pay for that. But my plan is eventually to have all my stuff from Super Rare, Maker's Place, all the things I've collected as well. A pretty big collector, a medium-sized collector, I would say. Obviously, all the ArtVndngMchn artists from other places like Dada, which I'm part of, and then Counterparty. I'm sitting on a massive collection from Counterparty of one of the earliest NFT collections called Crystal's Craft. So yeah, I want all that there. Part of my challenge is the whole QR code thing is for me, it's an eyesore, and it's certainly technology that works, where you can get somebody to throw their phone or whatever in there, and then they go to the site. But because it's pretty large, I haven't figured out how to mask it or keep it separate. I personally think it's a very bad eyesore to see a QR code that's like 1/16 or 1/10 the size of the artwork, because they're very strong images. So, but yeah, eventually, once all these worlds kind of get the best of all worlds in one, I think then we're going to see it really take off. What I love about the Uplift is, I mean, my wife and I, we used to go to a lot of gallery openings, and it's really cool and stuff like that. You have the wine and cheese, you meet people. Going to a static 3D gallery when you get attacked by zombies takes it to a whole new level. And this is what I love about the Uplift. You cannot I'm installing art, and I'll hold on, Jen, I've got to go, I've got to go fight this thing that just is flying out of the air. Do that, and if I don't die, then I stay there. So there's some excitement to that I think is going to bring a whole new level of interest for people who don't consider themselves art collectors, but are gamers that just become art collectors because this is what you do in games. You collect stuff, and it's art. Okay, now I am an art collector. So it's taking it's going to reach the whole new audience, and so I'm excited about that.
That's so funny. It was because we tend to have physical art exhibitions here that sort of coincide with a virtual show, and I'm just imagining the process. If I'm saying to a traditional art collector, here's our Metaverse show, and if I show you on my computer here, you can see the artwork here, and it's fully animated, and if you click this link, it takes you to the NFT. Excuse me for a minute while a zombie attacks you. He'll be gone in just a moment.
Now, would you please spend $20,000 on this digital art piece right here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if zombie attacks kind of work with my clientele, but as art collectors get younger and, the kids of today grow into the space, that's, why not?
Well, what I personally like about the Uplift is that, for those of you that don't know, anyone who's tuning in that doesn't know, we're using Minecraft as a base for our metaverse. And we've got kind of two styles of servers. We've got like the survival server, which, a zombie will attack you. And we've got the creative server where you can like kind of fly around. And, Joe, where he's working in his ArtVndngMchn gallery, in the Uplift is actually a survival server, which is interesting. It's probably it might be the biggest survival server gallery in the whole metaverse. But what him and his family and his team have done is really interesting, because they've actually turned it from an art gallery into this kind of amusement park, like metaversal type of experience. There's a giant roller coaster that you can get in and you can ride around on, and you can glimpse all of the artwork, right? It would be like jumping into a stream in the Louvre, where somebody's just running through the Louvre with their cell phone, and you see a glimpse, like you see what comes first, next, but you don't really get the time to sit down and look at it. And so when people get off the roller coaster, then they can walk back through, right, and look at all of these images on the wall, which is great, because we as a metaverse, one of the things that we do that I don't believe any other metaverse is doing at this point is we're actually rewarding people for their time, for their movements, for various things within the metaverse, right? So you're actually, if you're going in and you're checking out, Joe's or TC's gallery and walking around and looking at these things, you're actually getting, micro payments, micro drips of wax and Upliftium to your account, which is really cool as well, right? To Joe's point, nobody's spending time in the metaverse, but if you could somehow convince students that they're actually getting paid to look at art, that's a really big big game changer in that sense, right? So, but mblu, welcome. I'm sorry, I probably messed up the time again. I have some issues with timings, as most people know. It's just I just jump from one stream to another, so I don't pay attention to time. But yeah, welcome. And mblu, if you don't know, he's the founder of the founder of Uplift Art, which then ported into Lgnd.Art, which is Uplift is looking at using art for good, for philanthropic means. Lgnd.Art is kind of a high-end sort of platform on the blockchain that's looking to curate some really big name artists. So how are you, mate? Welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Great. Yeah, nice group you have here. Some faces I know, some names I know. Yeah. So yeah, Metaverse. Yeah, so much happening in there. So yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. We've got the Blap House and the Blap Club and the Blap Amphitheater about done. So exciting things.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, so in the Uplift, another gallery as well is I guess, well, I think it's we're calling it the Blue Room, which is really cool. If you go over to our channel, you can see Corey running around from in the Blue Room, going through the process of scanning a QR code. So going back to what Nifty was saying earlier, because I think this is interesting, right? What he's working on is being able to put 3D 3D images into there. I'm curious about some of these other metaverses. Is it possible, Martin, to do that in CryptoVoxels? Have you guys played around with that, Jen? I know in the Blue Room, one of my favorite pieces of art, if you're standing back and you're looking at it, it looks like this big image, and it was done by one of our teammates, another streamer on our channel, Jen, and she has kind of become known as the Banksy of the Uplift, because she's just going in there and doing really weird stuff. But she's doing it with the Uplift building blocks, right? So when you actually get up closer, there's actually a stairway that goes up the side of the monument, right? So it's like graffiti in a way, but it's three-dimensional, right? Imagine if some of these Banksy images actually popped out, right? There's some great street art in the world that looks like it's three-dimensional, right? But there's people that are building these things in the Uplift, and I'm just curious if there's other metaverses that allow you to do those sorts of things, because again, there's different benefits from different metaverses, but I think that's a really strong kind of type of living artwork which Joe's curated as well in the Uplift, and so I'm not sure if that's something that you guys have experimented with or are looking to experiment with.
Jen, do you want to go first?
I think he's talking about a different Jen.
No, yeah. So
okay, well,
I was talking about a different Jen. Sorry. But you're welcome to speak too. I mean, there's room for more than one Jen in my life anyway.
So yeah, you can actually build 3D objects in another software. It's called Magical Voxel. So, and then you export that as a vox object, and then you import that as an asset into the game. And per parcel, you have limited amount that you can drop in, but it's like, I think per parcel 200 vox objects. So people go into details and build like detailed Baroque picture frames, or like a rose, seems like this, a vase, these kind of things. Because like this magical voxel, you can go really small into these voxels and then build them up bigger. It's a little bit like Sandbox is also having like a voxel builder. And you can import them. And the nice thing that you can do is then you can turn them into a variable or an asset, and then sell them on as an NFT as well. So people build pets, for example, and you can attach the pet, cat, or whatever, like any kind of thing to your avatar that follows you around. So these things are happening quite a lot, actually. And the most advanced builds, like for example the B20 build from Beeples, the people that bought Beeples art, they built like a gallery, and then you see like lots of things like with voxels. They have whole elevators going up and down, and every button in the elevator is like a little kind of like voxel object.
Wow.
It's insane. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Now, Jimmy, like, can't you? I'm pretty sure you can import voxel stuff into Minecraft. I think, correct?
What?
Yeah. I'm almost positive, because I mean, a lot of those statues that you see built in there are most likely done in a voxel program than imported. I'm assuming. I couldn't see them actually building that inside the space. So, do you know? Is there like a tutorial on there on how to maybe do that?
A magic command.
Yeah. So I think back in the early days when we first started and we were like really small, we were only like basically the one server. There was some people that were playing around with that. I think maybe one of the issues is that we've scaled to a point now where we've got like 6 or 7 different servers, and so we have to just make sure that, like, you know, because it's, I guess one thing is when the Uplift was set up, Corey's vision was kind of like, he wanted to create, he's not here, he's just having technical difficulties, but he wanted to create this space where people couldn't mess your shit up, right? Like, so, you know, he wanted to create this space where, because it was based off of gratitude, right? And he has this really interesting story about, you know, him and his mates going in there, sorry, and, you know, building this gratitude monument, and some clowns came in and just like bombed it to the ground, right? And I mean, I guess that's kind of fun and funny, but like if you're bombing somebody else's gratitude monument to the ground, it's kind of sad, right? And so once he came up with this idea of like locking it to a plot of land on the blockchain, that means that, like, you know, I could go in and mess with TC stuff if I wanted, but it would be TC's fault because he would whitelist me to his plot. Right. So like, you know, nobody can really go in and mess up your things. Right. And so I think one of the advantages of that is that you can create your own experience. You can create your own building, and nobody can ever take that away from you. The disadvantage, however, is, you know, you can't just walk around and put graffiti on walls or import whatever you want. Right. Like, so there is a bit of a process that you would have to follow to get those images in, or to get those other things in the actual. Sorry, I've got like coffee powder in the back of my throat. It's not really working for me. Remind me not to do that next time. But yeah, like that's kind of the way that I think that it's going to play out. So in the future, possibly we will be able to do that. And if we do, we'll probably be charging Upliftium for it. But no promises. You know, this is something that the team itself will decide, and I'm not really sure a timeline for that, right? Like, because we're you know, breaking rules, bending rules, but we're also having to comply with a lot of the traditional Minecraft stuff, and figure out, you know, how these two kind of things meld together. So yeah.
Another pretty cool thing that I like about the Uplift is that you could do art performances. So we started doing this a while ago, and we're doing one tomorrow too, where so you know how there's artwork, and you could put artwork flat. It's you know, hanging on the wall, but you could also put it flat.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful with Joe, everyone. He seems like a nice guy, but he's making people jump from extremely high places in the Uplift and seeing if they survive.
Yes, and so we have layers of art, and the really the only way to see it well is you've got to do a jump. And there's a little hole that you can't see in the art, and you jump through there, land in a little water pool on the art. then you walk a little bit, jump more down.
Nice.
I'll give you a little simulation. You can go. We're doing this tomorrow in the Uplift at the ArtVndngMchn plot. And I actually have died doing it, so it is somewhat dangerous, but it's unforgettable. And we have hidden stuff even at the bottom of the ocean floor where you see it. If I could just share my screen, I'll show you a little. I'll show you a little thing we're doing here.
That's definitely new. I think Uplift is the only metaverse where you can die.
Right?
I don't know.
Yes, you could die and resurrect, which has great implications there. So
the next thing you know, you're going to start having purge day every year in the Uplift, where like you can just go on to other people's plots and mess them up. That's what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it already exists in Nemesis, right? Like you can go. It's a total PvP server. Like you can do what you would normally do in a traditional Minecraft game, right? So.
Can people see my screen right now?
No, because you haven't shared it with me, mate.
Oh, share screen.
I think you put it up, but then you removed it. I think you self purged. I guess.
Hey, is somebody's mic?
Yeah, I think it's Joe's actually. Joe's.
Okay, here we go.
No, you did it again, Joe. Oh, you did it again. You keep removing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. This is the last time, and if I can't do it, then I quit.
Just click it once, not twice.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay. Okay, so I go over here. So this is just a simulation because it's hard to get good screenshots of this because you're falling. So we need somebody to record it from far away. But your view is you're actually diving into the art. So this is the example of, I'll turn this into an NFT too. But you're basically experiencing the art in whole new ways. And then on the base layer, you could actually walk around and see the art in different, from a completely different perspective. So it's what I like about, and I know I'm stopping sharing now, what I like about all this is, so the 3D world in online, it doesn't need to comply with our rules. Like there doesn't need to be gravity. You can breathe underwater if you want. So you could, and I mean, since Marcel Duchamp, I mean, what rules really are there in art anyways? It's kind of been thrown out the window when he took, the urinal and turned on its side. And that was the beginning of, art can be anything kind of thing. So to me, the Uplift is just another way to just push the boundaries of art and still have a good time.
I totally agree.
It's pretty exciting, and I look forward to, I have stuff right now also exhibiting crypto voxels in the Maker's Place gallery, and I look forward where I could just jump through a little doorway, walk through water, and all of a sudden I'm in Maker's Place and come back, and it'd be great to make all these linkages. I know we're not there yet, but that's the vision, a real metaversal, Jimmy, as you so eloquently said.
Well, I think you bring up a really good point. I'd like to hear from mblu on this because I know he's quite global in his thinking. That's kind of where the whole Uplift Art project came from. Creative philanthropy. We've been talking about this almost since the day I met mblu, actually, which is a really long time ago. What are the implications to you of art in a metaverse, mblu, and how does that have the power to impact and change the way that we see art and the world in general?
Well, I keep hearing that everything's going to the metaverse. So I think, we're at the early stages of, what it's going to be. But, and metaverse is kind of this really elusive term that means a little something different to everybody. But, when I imagine metaverse, it is an immersive, Ready Player One. That's what I think of when I think of metaverse, right? And that's where I think we're headed to. I think we're, who knows, a decade away from that, maybe. But that is coming at some point. That's going to be pretty exciting. So yeah, I mean, I just, thinking of that future vision of what a metaverse could be. I mean, you can feel the art, you can interact with it, you can do things that you can put it in your pocket, right? I mean, you can, throw it into another universe. You can sprinkle it on your cereal, your virtual cereal. So, it's just gonna, it's just going to make, art just explode. You can be in it, and we're already living in art, right? Even, the natural world that we live in is, maybe the ultimate VR. But, to be in VR and then go into another, nested universes, right? Nested realities. So art inside the metaverse is just, the whole metaverse is art, right? It's art upon art upon art. Exciting.
I think what Jen's doing in terms of professional art is really great, and the metaverse allows just one more venue to be able to showcase to a more global audience. But what really excites me is the fact that potentially we can have a way to see, how do I say this that it doesn't sound bad? We can have a way to see good African art, right? You can walk into any shop in the US or into Europe and you can look at some overpriced, not so great African art or this African print, right? How often do you actually get to see the real art that comes out of the small villages or the communities in Southeast Asia? Things like that, right? And now with this connectivity, we're able to support that, see that, view that, without having to rely on somebody else to bring it to us, right? And without them having to rely on getting it to the right person to bring it to us. And I think that's really exciting for me, right? We can find, these next big name artists ourselves, and they can promote themselves. Sorry, Jen, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as NFT art collecting goes, it's so much nicer to be able to present it on a Metaverse gallery wall so people can, just visualize it more in true to life size. When you're collecting art, when you're collecting NFT art from any of the platforms, and it's just like a little picture. Even if you blow it up full screen, it's kind of, you can't quite grasp it. But if you can see, for some reason, if you can see it the same size, but with an avatar standing in front of it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, it's big.
Yeah, totally agree.
It even gets more immersive when you're putting the aspect of VR glasses in it. Right now a small percentage is actually entering the metaverse with VR glasses, but when you enter it, you really get the full the immersiveness that mblu was talking about is going to the next level, where you experience an artwork in front of you, and it's getting almost like haptic, even though it's not. But this is exactly what I'm excited about. You talked about Duchamp and what it did for modern art. Right now, we're entering a space where we're defining basically what the metaverse brings as the next cultural evolutional step. Because what we are experiencing right now is a new culture, and it's building up slowly. And doing events and doing performances in VR, I think, defines where this is going. How do we express ourselves with digital art, with digital assets? Because so far it's been just trading, just shifting things around. But experiencing this, you need to have the cultural realm, and you need to have the contemporariness of it.
Yeah. I want to touch on what Jen was saying. I use AR in everything that I do. All my projects have an AR element, mainly just because of that tactile feeling. Is that I want them to be able to, on their phone at least at this point, they can show it in AR, and it's almost like it's there in front of you. You can kind of go up close to it, actually see it in a different realm. And AR, where I see it's going, is to the glasses, where the Google Glass kind of look is going to happen, and metaverses are going to just interact with the real world. That's just where I think basically all this is going to end up, where advertisers will see the bigger way of kind of utilizing that technology to, if someone has their glasses on, they go through, you see an ad when you walk by a certain product, very much kind of like that, what was that Tom Cruise movie where they
or even Google Glasses if they worked as planned, right?
Exactly. Well, Ray-Ban just came out with this thing with Facebook, and it's a recording device, but I think that's just the first step to where all of a sudden you're going to start to have AR things attached, because I know that Facebook's currently working on that. I know Google's currently working on that. And when that starts to happen, you're going to have gamification just kind of through your glasses. You're playing one-on-one basketball in an AR space, just using glasses and a little controller. So
I've even heard contacts.
Yep.
I just want to ask a question. Is that a world anyone wants to live in, where you have glasses on and ads are hitting you in the face that are geared towards you?
I think it's a generational thing, to be quite honest with you. I think for us, our generations, at least my generation, I grew up with 3 channels on a TV, and
same.
switch it, and now you're in a situation where you have thousands and thousands of channels. Everything has its own IP. Everything's going.
I know. It's just.
Well, Joe, I think there's an interesting aspect to what you're saying, but at the same time, as I think Corey and we've talked about this a lot. We live in this we live in this world now where we live in an attention-based economy, right? And we've been brainwashed by platforms like Facebook to feel like we're being slapped in the face with ads. But what happens when everything is on the blockchain, when everything's recordable, and it's more like Brave, where you can opt into these ads, right? Rather than being slapped across the face where you're walking down the street, it's like, okay, I want to be, I'm looking for new shoes. So, if there's a shoe ad, I want to see it. And you can auto-program what hits you, and you get rewarded for being slapped in the face, basically, right?
Yeah. And if you touch on the next part, you can understand. I don't think it's going to be advertising like we're understanding it. I think it's going to be like Axie Infinity. It's all like, you're advertising a game, but it's turned into a monetary system that's actually giving people new homes in Philippines, and it's a reality. Right.
Well, you're walking down the street, and it's like instead of having an ad there, you look down and you're actually wearing the shoes, virtually that they want to send you, right? Yeah. Or you're in an art gallery. A virtual art gallery that doubles as actual real life artwork, and you can actually see what that art would look like in the place that you would put it in your house, right? Yeah. There's all of these capacities, I think.
If I can stake those ads, I'm in.
But you're right, Joe. We're probably going to go through a lot of muddy water before we get to that point.
And that's, I think, everyone I think is a lot more hopeful and optimistic, and I think I'm a lot more. I don't know that I'm
realist.
I don't know. I saw Coca-Cola had an NFT a few months ago on OpenSea that was going for a couple $1 million, and I was like, you know what, this is kind of disgusting to me.
Yeah. It's like the Andy Warhol of modern times, though. How is that different from Campbell's Soup, right?
Because it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation, not some artist reappropriating.
I'm pretty sure Campbell's Soup didn't make any money from that.
That's fair enough. I detest Coca-Cola, by the way, so I get what you're saying, but I just...
I'm pretty sure one of the first NFTs, it was either on Counterparty or it might have been Counterparty, but somebody took the Coke logo.
Oh, wow.
Not a worker from Coke, and put it somehow connected to the Counterparty, and that was an NFT. And but here's what I think, Joe. And then actually, I apologize. I have to go at 6:30. In 1 minute, I have to go. But let me say this to kind of comfort you. All right, the internet. Remember when the internet started? And it was basically the internet started as a catalog, and so if we frame this under art, it's a catalog for art. Then it became a marketplace for art, like eBay, and mail this to this address and I'll send you this. So then it became a market, and then it became, with crypto, a vending machine. You put in coin, get out art. And now with these metaverses, it's become a party. So it's gone from catalog to market to vending machine to party. And just like any party, you can choose which one you want to go to. So you can choose, no, this party's too crazy, not going to that. This party, yes, nobody is going to do stuff that's going to freak me out or freak out my wife, my kids. I'm going to go here. And so I think that's going to be like that. And I appreciate the flavor of the Uplift, where it's comfortable to bring your family. You're not going to worry about, anything, that's going to freak out your grandma or, your conservative in-laws and your little kids. So I found my party, and I feel grateful for that. And I'm sure these worlds will start building out, and then the connections will be built. I would love to come back anytime you guys do this. This is an electrifying group. You guys are all amazing. So
before you go, I think we glazed over the fact that Joe, you recreated in the metaverse Mary Poppins and the Music Man jumping into his chalk drawings. I think that is a monumental achievement. awesome. That we haven't fully digested.
Well, thanks. Yeah, if anybody wants to, it's a happening. I consider this in the vein of art happenings, like I think from the '60s. But everybody has their Minecraft skins on, and if anyone wants to join us, I'm doing one tomorrow in the Uplift, and you can join me and be part of the art history, art happenings.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Nice seeing you, Joe.
Love your work.
Thanks, folks. I'm sorry I have to go, but you guys are awesome.
What's up, Joe?
Bye.
Take care, Joe. Bye.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump too. I've got a toothbrush emergency here. I got 3 kids, and I gotta put them to sleep, but I gotta figure out the toothbrush situation here. It's an emergency.
Awesome.
But hey,
Great seeing you.
Yeah, much love, everybody. Quick one for me, but yeah, good group here. I look forward to a future one.
Bye.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Awesome.
Yeah, one thing about what we just discussed, whether or not it's going to be ads slapped in your face, I think a big difference is really who builds the devices. The Google glasses, the Facebook whatever glasses, like they design the experience that you're having. They give you the device to experiences, and there I see an issue definitely because for obvious reasons. But I don't like the AR layers are really like the first. I see like the first step for people to get used to like digital assets happening in their everyday life, and then people go into this like game-like environments where it's completely immersive and where you only enter with your VR glasses.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
I mean, we have in my physical exhibitions, we've got one on right now, and every single piece of art that's on the wall has this augmented reality feature.
Love
and I've got the QR code there so that everybody can scan the Artivive app and get it going. But it's still a case of everybody standing there seeing it through their phones. It's so much nicer when it's glasses. But I also want to point out that you can just take glasses off, right? So you put them on, enjoy the show, and then you don't want to be advertised at anymore. Just
here comes Joe's teacher. He's like, that's what they said about
He's
cell
revving up.
phones.
He's revving up. We're seeing it. He's scratching the head. It's coming.
Like lead it to someone I consider a friend to like poke holes in my dystopian view of the space.
I mean, I love the idea of maybe it'll be a case of museums and art galleries having them at the door to pick up on your way in.
Yeah,
I love the idea of walking around like the Louvre, and that the glasses now, the ones that exist, they can recognize where your pupils are actually looking, and so if you're like focusing on an artifact, then a little bit of information might pop up at you. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like a great option to do selfies, right? We see like the Ken Bosak figure that people are posting pictures with, and I don't know if I think Digital Asset is doing things like this as well. This is another layer that gives utility to the NFTs. If you can have them in AR and interact with them and do a cool selfie with it, it's nice, and again, it will be different channels. It will be different layers, similar like we had with TV, where you can choose, do I go to the private TV, where it's ad financed, or do I go to something that's maybe a little bit more underground or funded by other things?
Well, and potentially maybe even like parallel dimensions, right? Like most of you won't know this because we hit it really well. But Martin and I, we tried to stream a metaverse from within a metaverse once. And it didn't work out. But like it did work out. I actually might have figured out what I did wrong. But there's that serious potential. Like what Jen was saying about like that VR experience, in a real life gallery, right? Like it's gonna go both ways, right? You're gonna have that ability to, own pieces of art or even fractionalize pieces of art that you see in the metaverse that actually exist in the real world, right? Like what if, I don't know, we've got a lot of things about like what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, but like what if they fractionalize something like the Mona Lisa, right? And then like you own that piece of that art. Like, are you able to show it in your Metaversal gallery or in your shop or in your store, right? Like there's a whole host of things that we still have to come through. Like I think for me, the scariest thing for artists, I think, is the fact that we don't really have any clear guidelines on how to prevent people from selling art or displaying art that might not be theirs, right? And I think, like, I don't know, like, for the artists out there, the curators out there, what you guys think about that?
I know Mint.base is running some program, and I think one of the developers that works for them was kind of trying to educate other people on Twitter about it, because one, I don't think a lot of people are using it, but two, they're spending thousands of dollars a month apparently to run some type of code that checks to make sure that this isn't on anyone else's social media platform that isn't associated with that account. So it is out there. It's just no one is doing it, and is just kind of leaving it up to community reporting and such, which is like, one of the first pieces I bought was stolen from a very talented young artist who's extremely popular, and it was beautiful. And I didn't know anything at the time, so I was just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll buy this cheap piece of art. Like, I like it. Why not?" And
back to that M.O.R.B.S comment from the comments earlier. By the way, I know NFT Joe buying copyrighted artwork.
Yeah, I love how they're all like, these guys show up and they feel so comfortable that they can, burn me with every breath that they take. I love that they're so comfortable with me.
Just wait till we get Charlie Q on the stream. We're gonna build the whole Metaversal art gallery burn experience when we ever get him on here.
Something else though, back to the my jaded viewpoint. And the copyright stuff. I was talking to M.O.R.B.S, who, Jen, I think you know the artist well enough. He's probably considered one of the people that arguably started this. He was involved in the rare Pepes and stuff on Bitcoin. He's notorious for causing issues and challenging copyright laws all over the place. And we were talking about like this viewpoint of, I told him the story about Coca-Cola entering the NFT space, and like how I was just like, my brother who's in this space found out about NFTs, who's having trouble understanding them, about like the NBA Top Shot cards. And he was like, oh, well, you own this card and you could get royalties from it when people use it on television. And I was like, hold on a sec. The NBA is never going to let that happen. Yeah. But also, Emiliano, like, you just ruined my flow, man. But so that's a very like idealistic point of view. But like, these corporations are never going to let that. And if anything, it is pushing us in that realm where, those large corporations are going to be able to say like, nope, that's ours. Take it off, take it off, take it off, take it off. But and through the conversation, M.O.R.B.S and I like kind of focused on the fact that, the conversation about art is now returning, where like no one's been talking about it for the past like 20 to 30 years, unless you're Jen, and do it for a living and interacting with those types of people. But now regular dummies like me and Emiliano and Charlie Q and all these guys in our group chat are talking about like, what art is and, why I'm buying this or why I'm not buying that. Like, it's maybe that's what like saves us from those corporations that enter the space for once, because that conversation of those difficult ideas and complex philosophies are now being discussed by people that otherwise wouldn't have experienced. So like maybe I am an optimist.
No, but I think you touched on something. Like Corey has always said, he was playing gigs, he was doing the real life musician thing full time. His first NFT music drop, right? Like he made some real money, like real money, like in terms of how much he was able to make, with that I'm Not the Bubble collaboration with mblu. And like, so I'm curious, like Jen especially, because I think maybe Martin as well, but more so Jen, like you're an artist. That's what you do. Like that's your career. That's your thing, right? Like I think this gallery thing that you're doing is kind of a side, but like if you had to choose between the two, you would probably want to do art. So how has like, you know, being able to display your NFTs or sell them, you know, even outside of the metaverse, like, but just display them on the blockchain, like how has this changed your life? Like are you must be making way more money than you did before. I don't know. Maybe I'm prying too much, but it just seems to me that if it works for music, it would probably work for art as well.
Jen, how much money are you worth? How many monies do you have in your wallet right now?
What I will say is that I've been a professional full-time artist of a sort for over a decade. And I've been an NFT artist for nearly a year. I'm coming up to my 1-year anniversary. And my biggest sales in my career have all been animations, 10-second, 20-second animations, by a long shot. And that's not to say that I never really had a decent career before. You know, I've done mainly, the biggest change for me is that I've moved away from commission work. You know, all of my work before was very much like murals or speed painting gigs at events, or, you know, commissions from, you know, even from big, like from the government, from royals or whatever. But it's been NFTs, making whatever I want, and selling them. That's been kind of the game changer for me. But I have to say as well that even I am an artist, and that's definitely my core, but Mora Collective right now is definitely my full-time gig. I haven't really produced any art for a while because it's a startup and we have a very small team, and I feel like I'm doing about 10 people's job at the moment. Hopefully it'll level out at some point. But I love both. I love being a curator, and I love Mora Collective, and I love working with galleries. And it feels nice to be a part of the NFT community and the art world, you know? Yeah.
I mean, for me, so people are talking about how weird I am in the comments. Thank you. I take that as a compliment. But like for me, this is how weird I am, right? Like I want to walk into one of your shows in real life, like, you know, in real life, not in the metaverse. And I want there to be like almost the Yoko Ono experience, right? Where I walk into the show and there's a room, and like outside of the room is empty. There's nothing there, right? It's just white walls. But just inside of the room, there's a pair of VR goggles. And I put on those VR goggles. I stand in the middle of the room, right? I put on a headset, and there I am in the metaverse, right? The metaverse in a room, in a real life brick and mortar art gallery, right? Like I think that would be fascinating. I think that would be amazing. And like it's
you'd need a lot of sanitizer in this day and age.
Good point, Jen. Good point.
Totally true, right? I mean, yeah, but like that's.
I'm saying that because we've tried to do it a couple of times this year. It's very much like you can't go sharing goggles right now. Sorry.
Well, you know, to also, you know, to touch on that, on the copyright thing, you know, Joe, you bring up a really good thing. You know that, you know, this has been happening since I got into this thing, because copyright is all over the place right now, and there's a lot of infringement happening, you know, from the big companies already. And I think there's a misconception that lawyers aren't paying attention. You know, I have some friends back in LA. They're well aware of this space, and they're also well aware that blockchain records everything forever. So they're not in a rush, actually. They're actually watching exactly what's happening. And back when I got into this in April, you know, DC and Marvel both put out letters all to anybody that was a fan art maker, anybody that was anything, stop. It was basically stop. And the reason is that there's a misconception about fan art. People think that just because you draw Batman yourself and you put your little touch on it, that you're not infringing. That is a total misconception. If you actually go to these comic book conventions, you understand that the people have you there to watch you. They're not having you there to make money. They want to make sure that you're not producing 10,000 of these. They want to make sure you're doing one-on-ones. And so I see a lot of stuff that goes up on OpenSea. I'm not going to say the artist's name, but he messes with the mouse. And I'm an old art director. You know, I've been doing this for 25 plus years of art. So I've done everything from the commercial side.
That's a show of respect too, where you won't even call it by name on
I will not do that. I will not do that because honestly, I feel bad for his collectors, because the lawyer I talked to told me that it's a trickle down effect. They'll come after the last owner. They're going to have him burn it, so it's no longer in existence. He lost his money. And then literally every person down the line can be sued, from the first person all the way down to the artist.
Yep.
And so that's the stuff that, if you are getting into this, stay away from IPs. I'm just word of the wise. I don't think that it's going to come right off the bat. I think everyone right now is like, oh, it's crypto. No one knows who I am. It's anonymous. That's true.
It's all on blockchain.
If you're not on a marketplaces know your customer. They know you. They know your wallet. They know where to find you. So be careful with that stuff. I try to tell all the new artists that, because a lot of them just go, hey, can I, make this Nike shoe an NFT? And I'm like, I wouldn't. Just because I know that somewhere down the line, if something got big enough, that something can happen. I even worry about Beeple. I'm wondering, like, is he talking to these big corporations and paying him out a bit of this, because he uses a lot of IP in his work, so
one of the things that you might not know about Nifty, if you're listening to this, or even if you're on this panel, and one of the things that I really like about you is that you actually sell your M.O.R.B.S characters with this limited liability license. So what that means is, like, people can put it on a t-shirt as it exists. They can't change it, they can't add anything, they can't morph it. But I see this as really innovative, and I also think that in the future, this might be, like, in a way, how corporations or artists might actually be able to protect themselves against such things, right? Because if you have this kind of limited liability aspect to the NFT, where people could put it on a t-shirt, or they could, put it on something as it exists, and the credit is given to the artists themselves, then, we've, like, it's hard for me, because as an artist, right, like, you could paint a traditional piece of artwork with a person wearing Nike shoes, and Nike wouldn't come after you, right? like they're going to take it as free advertising. So it's hard to know where that line is, right? Yeah. But I mean, it comes down to intent, right? And unfortunately, we don't have really a court of law that specifies intent right now, and people are going to get burned to find that line for sure. Like, people are going to get burned hard, right? Yeah.
I'm going to have to go. It's past my bedtime. I don't know if you guys know. It's 9:45 here on the East Coast in the States. So
10 is your bedtime?
No, 8:30 is my bedtime. This is way past my bedtime.
No.
I'm with you.
Sleep, my friend.
That is so right.
I have a 2-year-old. All right, like, I'm up at 5:30 every day. I asked Robness today, I was like, what time do you wake up? Because I've been up since 5:30, and I don't know if 10 o'clock in the morning is an early time for you to talk. Like, I don't know what is normal anymore at this point in my life. Like, the fact that I'm even, like, communicating with, like, strangers on the internet now. This is, like, the most social interaction I get now. It's this and Bluey on Disney. That's it.
Go check out Joe's podcast on the Cryptowriter Network. They're great. They're fun. He's
more coming out soon.
Supporting artists until 8:30 p.m. That's his new segment.
That's gonna be it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Have a good one, Joe.
Yeah. Talk to you guys soon.
But yeah, I think we'll I think it's a good time to wrap it up, actually, if anyone else has anything to say. But I'd like to do another one of these. Well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a metaverse focus, but there's a lot of really solid people on this. We'll definitely have to do another one at a better time for you, Jen. Maybe, Martin, I'm happy that I could, because he's on the same side of the world as me, so that's good. Although he might actually sleep less than me. But yeah, I'd like to do another one about art and just NFTs in general, and maybe we'll try to do one, in a month or two. So, but if any of you guys have anything to say before we wrap it up, please do. Shout out your project, shout out where people can find you. Go for it.
I definitely want to shout out my project, and please follow us on Twitter and Instagram. It's moro-collective.com, and you'll find all of our socials there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Jen, please come on and do an exclusive with us so that we can highlight that. Even have a walkthrough of what you guys are doing with the NFTs, and we don't always have time to do that here. So
we're coming up. Our next exhibition is going to be primarily Metaverse one, and it's going to actually be kind of a big show, a big undertaking. We've got an open call for work coming in the next few days, and we're expecting thousands of entries, and we've got to pick 50. So that means that the art's going to be pretty incredible. So
nice.
Well, we actually started a new show on our channel called the Metaversal Effect, where we're actually like looking at things that are going on, beyond the Uplift world. So if there's like chances to cover that kind of stuff, let us know, because we'd be more than happy to jump in there. Because I think supporting musicians and artists is why I do this. The other things are cool, but that's what I want to do, right?
Same.
Cool.
Awesome.
I
Really
wanted to.
all of you guys.
Yeah.
Cool,
Good seeing
then.
you.
Take care.
Martin, do you want to shout out what you're doing? You haven't done that yet.
Well, you asked earlier, like, if we're also on other platforms or anything, and you introduced me, like, are we doing mainly stuff on EOS? That's actually not that true. We're also doing a lot of stuff on Wax. We haven't been that active in the last 5 years since stuff happened, since Atomic Hub opened on EOS. We kind of wanted to support that scene there and bring some collections there. But our recent two collections that we produced were on Wax. That was the virtual graffiti battles and Heidi Typhi art. So both of them are on Wax, and we showcase them in Cryptovoxels to also connect basically the Wax world into Cryptovoxels. We have the walls.gems, where it's an address where you can send the promo NFT and we display it in Cryptovoxels for you. We have a banner there for the NFT Insider right now, like basically keeping track for the people in Cryptovoxels every week what goes on there. And anyone that wants to come on to our weekly show in Cryptovoxels, reach out. Our Twitter is @DOT, like .gems_. And there's a link tree where you can see all our collections, our gallery spaces, and everything you need to know.
Yeah, and you guys are also building something, I think, in the Uplift, which people can look forward to as well. So.
Yes.
And Nifty, you guys are looking for your Halloween event over on your server, and you've also got the M.O.R.B.S. You and TC and I have recently been doing a few shows, so how can people find you and keep up to date with all that?
You can always find me at morbs.app. That'll give you all the M.O.R.B.S. collection, and then you can also go to bccaldwell.com. That will have my other collections, which will include some OpenSea stuff I'm releasing next week. There's one OpenSea collection right now, which is Daruma dolls. It's Luck of the Daruma, so it's about, I'm going to probably have 100 of those kind of different things. And then I have the Vampaz, which was a sellout pack recently, and then we're going to do it now on Ethereum as the Crazy 55 Vampa Ether Clan. And so there'll be 55 of the old buggers you can get. And what is cool is that I'm thinking about the bridge already, and when you buy the ETH NFT, you're able to, obviously trade it on that network. But if you write to us and let us know, we will send you a specific Vampa token, which will allow you to get free airdrops on the Wax blockchain. So you'll be able to actually use 2 blockchains with one NFT.
Oh, wow.
So actually Luck of Daruma is doing that right now. So if you pick up any one of those, you automatically write to us. We'll send you out a token, and I airdrop free things to you every month. Kind of like our cryptos. I have a crypto avatar, and we're on our 5th. I just dropped the last. Well, TC got number 1, the Franken crypto. You got
and number 2, and number 2.
So we're sending out those basically twice a month, and I'm building up a Discord server right now for that, and also a specific Wax-A-POOLOZA room that's going to be crypto oriented, so for the crypto holders. So anyway.
And from TC, quickly becoming one of my favorite people. He's got a massive gallery. We saw it. We saw it earlier in the stream in the Uplift, and his goal basically is to showcase people making amazing NFTs on pretty much any blockchain. So if you're out there, you've got a small NFT project, you want to display in that gallery, get in touch with TC. He's fronting the Uplift
to go up.
And his whole goal is basically, your whole goal is to support NFT artists, right?
Musicians, artists, whatever. Yep.
And cool, TC.
Actually, M.O.R.B.S. and I are going to set up a store on one of my builds, so I'm going to be selling merch of his stuff, T-shirts or whatever.
Yes, the mega store.
The mega store. Yeah, I'm going to be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
See what
Nice.
happens.
Yep.
Love it. Well, thanks guys for joining us again. Look out for the Uplifters channel. We want to do exclusives with all of you and more. Check us out. Come back next week for our Cryptowriter Round Table. Next week we will be doing our first episode ever of Aussies on the Block, so I'm pretty excited about that. They're 1.5 episodes behind the Blockchain Canadians, but let's see how the Aussies come out and represent. Take care, and we'll catch you guys all on the flip side.
Awesome. Nice seeing you guys.